City at home. Arsenal away.
Dorking takes it with him. Dorking's left-footed effort. Oh, it's a screamer!
Villa at home.
Into the penalty area. Cunha scores for Manchester United.
Chelsea away.
Balls it back into the area. United in the front. Mateus Cunha.
When Manchester United parted ways with Ruben Amorim at the turn of the year, they had won just 4 of their past 12 games. Momentum wasn't just stalling, it was slipping away. Fast forward half a year and under Michael Carrick, the upturn in results was obvious while the lift in mood, undeniable. Yes, Carrick did move away from Amorim's much debated 3-4-2-1 system, restoring a 4-2-3-1 that has allowed his players to shine in their natural roles. But the reasons for United's turnaround run much deeper than a simple formation change, and instead lie in the genius of Carrick's new game plan, and the clear vision he's set for the season ahead. When you picture how Carrick was as a player, you imagine a metronomic midfielder who plays safe but secure passes to lay the foundations for sustained possession. As a coach, his approach is more nuanced, but the influence of his pass-first instincts was already visible in the numbers across his first 12 games in charge. Under him, United's possession spells have become longer and more intricate than they were under Amorim, with sequences of more than 10 passes now occurring far more often, an increase from 9.7 to 12.2 such sequences per game. Longer spells usually come with a trade-off though, as they tend to slow the tempo. The question was whether that trade-off would materialise under Carrick. Under Amorim, United had already begun playing faster and more direct, ditching the slow build-up play from the back that had plagued them the season before like coronavirus, and in the process, cutting down turnovers in their defensive third. By match day 11, Amorim's side had attempted the 3rd most long balls in the league, and their attack, ranked 5th slowest last season, had climbed to the 8th fastest. Interestingly though, United's overall speed of play has remained almost unchanged under Carrick. Even more encouragingly, a greater share of passes now occur in the opponent's half, while their passes completed in the final third have risen from 77.2 passes per game under Amorim to 90.2. Playing fast, intricate football is a delicate balancing act, one that demands players who are technically sharp and composed under pressure, not cursed with the first touch of a donkey. It's also the style most United supporters crave, and crucially, Carrick has pushed the team noticeably closer to achieving that. There have also been changes to United's out-of-possession play too. For one, United's average starting distance when pressing has fallen. Amorim's 43.1 metres would have ranked them the 4th highest pressing team in the Premier League behind only City, Arsenal and Brighton, while Carrick's 41.8 metres puts them much closer to the league average. Carrick's derby win over City, admittedly an extreme case, captured the shift in approach perfectly. United sank into a narrow, disciplined 4-4-2 low block, squeezing the spaces City usually exploit between the lines. Up front, meanwhile, the improvised pairing of Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes didn't chase blindly but picked their moments, springing aggressively with well-timed presses to disrupt the rhythm just as City looked ready to settle. The striking part? This more conservative foundation hasn't dulled United's bite, and despite starting from a deeper, lower-risk shape, they're pressing almost as frequently as before. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, we'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribed. Your support helps us grow and continue creating the content you love. Carrick's arrival has seen United emphasise playing more centrally than under Amorim. His team is operating closer together in the middle of the pitch to combine with speed, and favouring half-space play more often than Amorim, who relied more on his team shifting the ball out to the wing-backs to progress the attack. A key theme has been the reintegration of Kobbie Mainoo ever since his puzzling alienation under the dictatorship of Amorim. Under Carrick, the switch to a back four has allowed United to field an extra attacking profile regardless of their shape across different phases of play. Significantly, this has freed up a spot for Bruno Fernandes in the central number 10 role, in turn allowing Mainoo to slot right into the double pivot alongside Casemiro. His partnership with Casemiro, one that Amorim had deemed unfeasible, has been impressive in of itself, let alone the fact that it has freed up Bruno to flourish higher up the field. The wings still matter, of course, and much of United's play remains directed down the flanks, with the greatest threat coming from the right. Luke Shaw at left-back has regularly stepped inside to form a back three alongside the centre-backs, allowing Diogo Dalot to push higher on the right to combine with Ahmad and overload opponents down that side. As a result, the proportion of United's chances created from the right has climbed from an almost even split under Amorim to a clear right-sided bias under Carrick, and nearly 2 in every 3 of their crosses now come from that right-hand side. That said, the total number of crosses attempted has fallen sharply, but perhaps that is to be expected given that Carrick had initially favoured Bryan Mbeumo as his centre-forward despite Benjamin Sesko's hot goal-scoring form. One of United's key objectives this summer has been to find the right midfield partner for Kobbie Mainoo. But as far as midfielders go, Mainoo is, first and foremost, a ball carrier. His most impactful moments come when he collects the ball deep and drives forward, evading pressure with close control rather than by splitting lines with line-breaking passes. It's a valuable trait and one Michael Carrick will certainly look to spam, but it can also turn United's build-up play into a one-trick pony. Because if Mainoo gets crowded out or dispossessed, there is often no alternative way to progress the ball but to hoof it upfield to Sesko and inshallah. Santos offers a solution to this tactical dilemma, being a pass-first midfielder ranked in the 99th percentile among Premier League midfielders for progressive passes completed. In that sense, he complements rather than replicates Mainoo, as he ranks in just the 19th percentile for progressive carries, preferring to release the ball early. United had kept 1 clean sheet more across Carrick's first 12 games than they did in Amorim's 20 last season, and while they were conceding 2.2 big chances per game before, that figure has fallen sharply to 1.3. Shot accuracy has climbed from 45.4% to 54.3%, and their conversion rate has improved from 10.3% to 13.8%. They're not just shooting more cleanly, they're making it count. But is it sustainable? Shot conversion rates can run hot and cold. Expected goals, however, tend to be a steadier guide to what's coming next. Defensively, United's non-penalty XG conceded has dropped to 0.9 per game, down from 1.3 before his arrival. Looking back, the biggest thorn in Amorim's tenure was that, for all the extra protection that was supposed to accompany playing with a back 3, United still looked as porous as a broken condom. With Casemiro departing, the obvious solution for United would have been to seek a direct replacement. At his best, Casemiro's game is defined by his front-footed defensive intensity, stepping out to snuff out danger and break up attacks before they gather momentum. Crucially, his defensive steel is matched by a calmness on the ball and an ability to spray passes so perfectly weighted they could find God himself. Tielemans may not be a like-for-like successor, but stylistically, he is closer to Casemiro than you might think. He has all the hallmarks of an anchoring midfielder, comfortable in the build-up, press-resistant in tight spaces, and disciplined in his use of the ball. Out of possession too, his willingness to defend on the front foot is evident in his tackling frequency, which ranked the 6th highest among Premier League midfielders last season. Where he stands apart though is in his discipline, as across 279 appearances in the competition he has remarkably never been sent off despite picking up 28 yellow cards. Much like Casemiro, who turned 34 in February and increasingly relied on his reading of the game than on raw athleticism, Tielemans defends with intelligence. He chose his moments carefully, often inviting pressure before stepping forward decisively to regain possession. Not every midfielder can truly balance defensive discipline with attacking thrust, but Tielemans is one of the few who can. He was the catalyst behind many of Villa's attacks, fizzing passes through the lines, driving his team up the pitch, a burden that has too often rested solely on Bruno Fernandes at United. But will change with the arrival of Tielemans, who also ranked first among midfielders for passes that broke 2 lines and was second only to City's Rodri for line-breaking passes made under pressure. Clearly he is not a midfielder who settles for safe sideways passes. United's rebuild is far from over, but with a sharper game plan and smart moves this summer like Santos and Tielemans, the pieces are beginning to fall into place. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, don't forget to hit the notifications bell so you never miss a beat. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.